The tension that has haunted the world of Formula One for months has finally come to an end. But is the damage caused by this uncertainty already irreversible? Max Verstappen, the four-time world champion who kept the paddock in suspense for several weeks with speculation about his future at Red Bull, decided to put an end to the doubts during the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend. The question that remains is, why did it take so long to reach this decision? And even more importantly, was Red Bull really prepared to let go of the greatest phenomenon of the current generation of drivers? The start of the 2025 season was a real nightmare for Red Bull Racing, and that's no exaggeration. After 4 consecutive seasons of almost humiliating dominance in Formula One, the Milton Keynes-based team found itself in a totally unexpected situation, struggling to regain lost timing while watching McLaren take its place as the main reference on the grid. The RB21 car, which was supposed to be another demonstration of Austrian engineering excellence, ended up becoming an unsolvable puzzle with persistent balance and grip issues that confused even Max Verstappen in the cockpit. It was precisely in this turbulent environment that speculation began to intensify in an overwhelming manner. With Mercedes still unclear about the fate of its drivers and Toto Wolff executing his characteristic political strategy, never completely ruling out interest in Verstappen, the Dutchman's name began to be mentioned more regularly in connection with the Silver Arrows. And let's face it, the logic was obvious. What driver at the peak of his career would agree to stay in a car that simply does not live up to expectations, especially when there is the possibility of representing one of the most successful organizations in the sport? What elevated this situation to an even more critical level was Red Bull's calculated silence. For several months, neither Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, nor the newly arrived team principal Laurent Mekies made any public statements to definitively assure that Verstappen would remain with the team. This silence was interpreted by many observers as an indication that there were internal questions about the driver's future. Now, if you are completely sure that your main asset will not leave the team, why not proclaim it with all your might? Laurent Mekies, who took the technical reins at Red Bull during one of the most complicated stages of the team's recent history, finally chose to break this silence emphatically during the Hungarian weekend. In conversation with Sky Sports F1, Mekies was clear in his statement. Max has always represented and continues to represent the core of the team. However, the statement that really made an impact was when he assured that there has never been any genuine doubt, at least from the team's perspective, about Verstappen's future at Red Bull. Mekies' statement raises a compelling question. If there was never any real doubt, why did the rumors take on such proportions and persist for so long? The explanation may lie in Verstappen's competitive nature, who from the beginning of his career has made it clear that his only goal is to have a winning car. As Mekies himself admitted, Max wants the fastest car, and when that machine is not available, it is understandable that questions arise. The curious thing is that Mekies also revealed a fundamental internal perspective on how Red Bull perceives Verstappen not only as a driver, but as a vital tool for improving the car. According to the team principal, the Dutchman's experience will be fundamental in helping the organization find the answers it needs to return to the pinnacle. He understands when the car was working well, he understands when the car is not working, Mekies explained, revealing that Red Bull is betting on Verstappen's technical return to guide future development. Red Bull's dependence on Verstappen's return reveals something very significant about the internal dynamics of the organization. We are not simply dealing with a driver hired to drive the car as efficiently as possible, but an essential cog in the technical evolution process. This explains why Verstappen's departure would be so catastrophic for Red Bull. They would lose not only a 4-time world champion, but also the person primarily responsible for guiding the technical direction of upcoming projects. The situation becomes even more complicated when we examine the historical context. Over the past 4 years, Red Bull has developed its cars specifically to enhance Verstappen's skills, establishing a technical partnership that would be virtually impossible to replicate with another driver. The philosophy of evolution, the aerodynamic characteristics, and even the most delicate adjustments were designed with the Dutchman's driving style as the standard. Giving this up would be equivalent to starting from scratch in the midst of a stable regulatory phase. But perhaps the most revealing element of this whole narrative is the moment of Verstappen's definitive confirmation. Why did he choose to put an end to the rumors during the Hungarian weekend? The answer may lie in the results of Red Bull's recent experiments and developments, which may have signaled hope at the end of the tunnel for the RB21's problems. Or it may have been a strategic move to ease internal pressure and allow the team to focus fully on technical solutions. Mekies' statement that Verstappen represents colossal assistance in situations such as the current grip crisis of the RB21 also reveals something about Red Bull's working methodology. They are not merely waiting for engineers to solve problems on computers and simulators, but are actively using instant feedback from the driver to guide corrections. This demonstrates a more cooperative and less top-down approach than many other teams employ. What makes this situation even more fascinating is how it could influence Red Bull's internal dynamics going forward, with Verstappen officially confirmed and Mekies making it clear that the driver is nuclear to future plans. The pressure is now entirely on the technical team to deliver a car that is compatible with the talent they have at their disposal. There are no more excuses or loopholes. Either Red Bull solves the problems with the RB21 and prepares a competitive car for 2026, or it risks wasting the final years of the career peak of one of the greatest talents in history. The narrative surrounding the rumors of Verstappen's departure teaches us something valuable about the unstable nature of contemporary Formula One. Even the most solid-seeming connections can be shaken when results fail to materialize, and even a team with Red Bull's track record of success is not immune to competitive pressures. But it also shows that when there is a true strategic alliance between driver and team based on shared goals and mutual trust, such turbulence can be overcome. Verstappen's definitive confirmation at Red Bull marks the end of one of the most tense episodes of the 2025 season. But it also begins a new episode full of expectations and obstacles. The question now is no longer where Max will compete, but whether Red Bull will be able to live up to the trust placed in its star driver and once again provide cars worthy of a four-time world champion. The clock is ticking, and the entire Formula One world will be watching to see if this historic partnership can rise from the ashes or if it will continue to stumble in search of lost speed. What do you think? Will Red Bull regain its supremacy, or will Verstappen regret staying? Leave your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow all the behind-the-scenes action of the most unpredictable season in recent years.